Well, if you're a fan of theme parks and Halloween, this is the season for you. We have entered into the Halloween season, and Halloween events are taking over all of the theme parks. And I'm excited because tonight we are going to be chatting tips to use in theme parks during Halloween. We've been fortunate enough to visit a couple of theme parks this Halloween season and check out their Halloween events. And throughout our visits, we've learned a couple of tips to use that really honestly work for any theme park that you go to during the Halloween season. So we're excited to share some tips with you, but I'm also excited to hear what you guys think about theme parks during Halloween and tips you like to use during your own visits. But if you are new here, I want to welcome you here to the Megan Moose channel. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we do a live stream helping you with your theme park vacations. And like I said, I'm excited because tonight we're chatting all about theme parks during Halloween. So this is going to be a very general live stream. So usually we'll talk about Universal, Disney World, Hershey Park, very specific parks during the live stream, but this is going to be kind of a general stream just for, broad theme parks during the Halloween season, which honestly, I think all these tips can be used for any park that you go to. So with that being said, let me know in the chat what your home theme park is. Like, what park do you usually like to go to? Is there a certain time you usually visit a park? Are you planning on going to a park during this Halloween season? Let me know what you guys are doing. I'm very curious to hear and to see. Like I said, we have visited Hershey Park, Universal, and Disney World for their Halloween season and for their events. So I'm excited to share tips about that. But let me know where you guys are planning on going this Halloween season or what your home park is in case we have anybody new in the chat here. But as usual, before we head into the stream and the contents and chatting, I want to say hi to everybody that is rolling here on the live. And if you're watching here on the replay, thanks so much for being here and feel free to say hi in the comments below. All right, so we've got Kitty Kathy. Yes, this topic is right up your alley. I know you've got some tips to share with us too, so feel free at any point in time to put any tips in the chat. And I'm excited because I know you have some other Halloween visits for theme parks coming up soon, so I'm excited for that for you. Hey Doofs, thank you for being here. We've got an obsessed Rangers fan. Glad it's Wednesday. Been quite a long week, honestly. I felt honestly too that it's been kind of a bigger week over here. I've been trying to work on getting videos out from our previous trips. I really like going on trips because I can get a bunch of videos, but then when I get back, I have to edit all of them and, kind of get them out. So it's been a little bit overwhelming. So I kind of feel that with you there, but you know what? It's been good. I'm glad we can chat this Wednesday. And yeah, I'm glad you're here and I hope you have a great rest of your week. So thank you for being here. Yes, thanks everybody for being here. Hello, how are you doing? Thanks for being here. We've got Janelle. How are you doing, Janelle? Hope all is well. Hey, Guy. Thank you so much for being here. And let's see. Kitty Kathy, you went to HHN already. Yes. And yes, you're going to go to Hershey's Dark Night soon, which I'm so excited for you. Sometimes you go to Kennywood, but not this year. I know we may check out Kennywood this year. Next weekend, we're visiting a new park for their Halloween festivities, which I'm very excited to share with everyone. We'll see if we go to Kennywood or not. But yeah, I'm excited next weekend when we have a fun trip planned. Let's see. So Doofs are saying, Magic Kingdom, we like to keep it not so scary. Ghouls and chainsaws are not our jam. I love scary movies, but not haunted things. I definitely get you there, Doofs. And up until this Halloween season, that was totally how I was and still how I am. We're breaking into the more scarier side. It's been a very growing we're getting out of our comfort zone this Halloween season with like the Halloween Horror Nights, definitely the Hershey Park Dark Nights. But I used to be a Mickey's Not So Scary or like an Oogie Boogie Bash girly, but now we're trying to venture into the scary stuff, but I still really like Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party and more of the like happy, not so scary. So I definitely understand that for sure. Supa Noob, your home park is Hershey Park and you've gone once during Halloween so far. That's awesome. We went 2 weekends ago. I think it was 2 weekends ago. And we loved their Dark Nights event. They did a great job and all the houses were great. So yeah, I'm glad you've been able to visit and we love Hershey Park. So we've got an obsessed Rangers fan you've mentioned before. Your hometown park is Six Flags over Texas in Arlington, Texas. They have Halloween's Fright Fest going on right now with the weather getting better. You'll be going more. That's awesome. That's sweet. Do they have haunted houses there, or do they have like scare zones? What kind of things do they have there? And yeah, I love hearing about new parks to visit to, eventually maybe take you guys on adventures to. So if you have any Halloween events or parks you think we should visit or that you like to visit, feel free to put them in the chat. I love hearing about different parks. I've never been to a Six Flags park, so we need to go sometime. In the summer, it's too hot to go every week in the summer, but it's too hot, but whatever. So I get that. I mean, I know in Florida it was super hot when we were down there, so I understand weather plays a huge part in it. Don't do jump scares or clowns. My sisters do not like the clowns. Hey Guy, you might go back to Six Flags for some fall rides. We'll see. Got a season pass, but only have gone 3 times this whole summer. That's awesome. I hope you can go. That'd be pretty sweet. Let us know if you do end up going. There are a lot of local here in Pittsburgh that I'm home frequent, not just being parked, but haunted houses, and there's really cool zombies. Oh, I got you. Yeah, zombies of the corn that you'll go on occasion. And you love a lot of local haunted houses, but also anything scary works for you. You are so brave, Kitty Kathy. I am like working up to your level because before I went to the first like scary thing that I had ever done was Halloween Horror Nights 2 years ago. But growing up, like we didn't do haunted houses, we didn't do the scary corn mazes. So this is like super new for me. I've been very, very happy with my progress so far. But yeah, we're definitely working up to your level, Kitty Kathy. But I know there's like, I think it's the Scare House in Pittsburgh or something. I keep hearing advertisements for, and I remember that like back in high school and stuff. So I love that you love the scary things, and we're working up to that. So you don't think they have haunted houses or scare zones? Gotcha. Yeah, was curious about that. So thanks for letting us know. Hey Dan and Nicole, how are you doing? Thank you for being here. Hey, welcome in everyone. Thanks for being here. And Grogu Addict, hello. No problem that you can't make it today, but thank you for hopping in and saying hi. I appreciate it. Yes, we did have a great time at Halloween Horror Nights. I'll share some of my tips, are going to share with you how I was able to survive the night. But yeah, we did have a really good visit. So I'm glad that we could share it with you guys, and that we could visit and kind of work on that side of scary things. All right. So in October, starts Friday, and it's still in the upper 90s. That is crazy. It's been like 60s and 50s here in PA. So it's been nice, but it's definitely getting chillier. So wow, but still upper 90s. That's crazy. No, you are all good, Kitty Kathy. I love the multitasking. You are all good. You have a few big ones in your town that come every year. You stay away. I love that, Deuce. And you are not someone that likes scares. So even walking through the scare zones in Hershey is frightening. So I definitely not doing any haunted houses. I totally get that. I am like usually the one that just kind of bolts through the scare zones and tries to avoid all of the frights and everything. So I totally understand that. All right. Yes, chili is good for sure. Yeah, October starts Sunday. So which is crazy. Like, where did September go? Like, it's insane. All right. So thank you guys for all the chatting, for talking about your home parks and parks we should visit and things you like to do during Halloween. So let's go ahead and we'll get into some Halloween tips here. All right. So the first thing that we'll talk about, the thing that I like about Halloween at theme parks is usually during the Halloween season, depending on the park that you visit, they usually start some type of Halloween event. So, we've talked about Disney World, Universal, Hershey Park, they all have their Halloween events, even like Kennywood, and I'm sure other parks that you go to, like we've talked about, have Halloween events. The thing I always recommend doing before you go to the park is researching what the park has to offer during their Halloween events. Maybe you've been there before and you know some of the things that they have to offer, but I know this year a lot of parks have introduced new offerings, whether it's new haunted houses, new rides, new characters, new attractions. It's always good to know going into your visit what all you can experience during the event, especially because most of the parks, their Halloween events are separate ticketed events that you have to pay separately for. So it's not included in a normal park day admission. Like Mickey's Not So Scary is a separate admission, Halloween Horror Nights. Hershey Park is a good deal this year because their Halloween event is just grouped into one park ticket. But whenever you're going to these Halloween events, it might be a certain time that you're going and it might be an additional cost. So I always like to plan out my evening ahead of time so that way I can maximize my time, whether it's going through haunted houses or seeing parades and fireworks. I always like to know exactly what I can expect to see and kind of plan my evening out around that. I did that for Halloween Horror Nights. We were able to have a good, successful time at that. And also previous years for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, I did that as well. So if you're able to kind of look up the offerings ahead of time and get a game plan, that's a good thing to do. Also, if you're able to look up what times certain things will be happening, like if there's fireworks, a parade, or any other types of shows, coming up with the schedule for your evening is also a really good thing to do. So that way you can maximize your time because you don't want to get to the end of your night, figure out that there's something that you missed, and then you either have to pay another time to go to the event or you just might miss it in general. So always like to make sure that I am coming up with an itinerary for myself and figuring out what all I can expect to see during these Halloween events. Because usually they have really fun things that you don't see during normal or other times in the year whenever you go to the park. So like I said, always gotta plan out your evenings and kind of research going into your trip so that way you know what you can get yourself into. Let's see what you guys have to say. Oh my gosh. So 2 days ago marked 3 months until Christmas. I remember you saying that on your live, Janelle, and I was like, I just cannot. I can't think about that yet. That is so crazy. That's insane. Um, you are not that big of a scare guy, but you do like theme parks. Would like to go to a theme park one year for Halloween, but it's unlikely since the nearest park to me is about 1 hour away. Gotcha. I know. Yeah, there's some places that definitely have more theme parks than other. Once I started getting into the park side of things, like I didn't realize how many theme parks Pennsylvania has. It's insane, but there's other states that, might not have as many. So I hope you can visit a park soon for Halloween or just a park soon in general. I am ready for Christmas, but we're inching our way there. So, yeah, it's crazy. So Dan and Nicole went in blind with everything this year and def wasn't the best move. Gotcha. I know I have, like all of these tips are from, learning from experience for sure. And so I have totally experienced that too. A couple years ago when we went to Boo Bash, that was kind of what had happened to me. I'd never done. That was probably one of my first like Halloween theme park activities that I've ever done. So I got to the end of the evening just like figuring out that I didn't even get to half of the things that I really wanted to do. Another thing is that I'll say I should have added this as a tip, but whenever you get into these Halloween events, whenever they officially kick off, the evening goes so fast. Like you might have about 5 hours for a typical theme park Halloween event. And once things start, the evening just goes so fast and it's crazy. So that's why I like to kind of plan out ahead of time. So thank you for sharing that, Dan and Nicole. I'm sure you guys still had a blast though, because Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party is always so fun. So, but thank you for sharing that. Yeah, not ready for Christmas. It is insane. It's just crazy. Let's see. Yes, lots of parks definitely want to get on that Halloween train. I just feel like I'm seeing so many theme park Halloween events going on right now. It's just crazy, but I love it because it's kind of, I also like it too because it puts a different spin or like a different twist on the parks you like to go to, like because you get to see a lot of the decorations. Of course, the events come around. Maybe there's new characters that come out. So it is fun whenever they kind of have the holidays going on at the parks. Yes, Janelle, I really, really like this one. Talk to your group and find out what everyone wants to do. So in the past, I've gone to like Mickey's Not So Scary by myself. I also went with my mom one year. And then when we went to Halloween Horror Nights this past time that we went this past trip, I went with my sisters. I love what Janelle has to say, especially how I said like the evening goes by so quick. it is so good to know what everyone wants to do. Do people want to go do rides? Do they want to see certain characters? Sometimes lines to meet characters can be really long. So do you want to prioritize characters or different event offerings that the park might have, like parades or fireworks? So definitely agree with that, Janelle. And don't be afraid to kind of split up for part of the evening too, if there's some people that want to do characters or rides or go see the parade. So very, very, very good tip as far as planning goes, Janelle. I like that. Yes, weather does play a big factor around Halloween, depending on what state you're in the ever-changing time of year, for sure, Kitty Cathy. And I'm going to go ahead and hop into some my tip as far as weather goes. So, like Kitty Cathy said, weather can play a huge part in this. And one thing I do want to recommend, depending on where you're going or what park you're going to, I always recommend bringing rain gear with you. Uh, whether yes, no matter what park you go to, I highly recommend bringing rain gear for a couple of reasons. So whether you're in Florida, up here in Pennsylvania, or a different state that you're going to, you never know when rain might appear. We were just in Hershey Park a couple of weekends ago, and it rained the entire time we were at Hershey Park for their Halloween event. I've also been in Florida during the fall whenever you think that it's going to be a nice, bright, and sunny day, and it has rained the entire day. So you don't want the rain to kind of dampen your experience at these Halloween events or just at theme parks in general. So I highly recommend bringing rain gear and being prepared ahead of time for the weather. The other nice thing about that is, even though it rained at Hershey Park, this is kind of specific, but can be general to the park that you're going to. Whenever we were there, it rained the entire time, but the park was so empty. So since we knew it was going to rain going into our visit, we had rain gear and we could go on so many rides. The haunted houses had very little wait times. So if you're prepared ahead of time for the rain, it can actually work into your favor because you can actually get into a lot of more things than what you might be able to do if it was a normal park day and the weather was nice. So as long as you're prepared ahead of time, I think that, you'll be able to still maximize your time, be prepared for it, and still go around the park and do everything that you want to do. Some of the offerings might be a little bit different, like maybe parades might be delayed. I know at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party 2 years ago, or maybe it was a year ago, last year, whenever we were there, it rained the entire first hour of our event. So everything was just delayed. So you can kind of plan around that. Things were just a little bit delayed, but everything still went off. But it was nice having the rain gear because we could still go around and do rides. At Hershey Park, some of the scare zones were a little bit different because it was raining. Some of the characters couldn't be out. So all that to say, like Kitty Cathy said, be prepared for the weather, whether it's going to be really hot or rainy. Bring some rain gear. I always recommend bringing an umbrella with you. Rain ponchos are nice too, but if you're going down to Florida to some of the theme parks for their Halloween events, I saw a lot of people have umbrellas for waiting outside. It is so hot in the heat down in Florida right now. It was actually kind of nice having an umbrella just to shade yourself, especially for some of the houses or some of the haunted houses. You can line up before the party officially happens, and people were using umbrellas to shade themselves from the sun because they were in direct sunlight, but they still wanted to wait in line. So it even pays to have an umbrella if it's not going to rain. So thank you, Kitty Cathy, for that. And always like to be prepared for the weather and stuff. So look at the weather before going into your visit, before going into your day, and kind of see what is going on weather-wise. So yes, thank you, Kitty Cathy, for that. Halloween in Florida is very different from Halloween in Pennsylvania, which is for sure. Like, it has been super rainy here right now, and Hershey Park was very rainy, but it was kind of nice because all the lines for haunted houses were very low. Also, we got on a lot more rides than we thought we would, and there were actually a surprising amount of coasters going on during the rain, which was very weird. We were riding Wildcats Revenge, and it was raining, and it was like kind of bittersweet because there was no line. It was very fun. It was a different feeling of riding the ride, but also like it was raining and the rain hurt a little bit. So it was kind of very interesting. So I agree with that. You think the biggest park next to or near you is Six Flags, New Jersey. I have not been to any of the Six Flags parks. We'll have to figure out one to go to sometime. Halloween in Florida is, as far as the weather goes, it is super humid and hot this time of year, but also it's not uncommon for it to be very rainy as well, especially because I think they're still in hurricane season. So you just don't know what you're going to get whenever it comes to Halloween in Florida. But I do really like the parks during the Halloween season because they decorate very nicely. So, Magic Kingdom is so fun with all of the Mickey pumpkin wreaths. I want one. They are so cute. So it is, you don't know what you're going to get during the Halloween season in Florida, that's for sure. Doofs, you worked at Carowinds in North Carolina. We started Halloween party back in 2000. Lots of mazes and those guys and chainsaws and way too many clowns. Yes, the chainsaw people, like they are the ones that I don't think I'll ever get used to. When we were going through the Halloween Horror Nights scare zones, I was good with every one of them except for the one that had the chainsaws, and this one chainsaw guy, he got me very good. He was very sneaky, so I get that for sure. Thank you, Janelle. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. Thank you so much. Let's see. You can relate to the rainy day at Magic Kingdom. Yep. Yeah, so when it rains at Hershey Park, the sliders can't be out. That's what I was so excited to see them in the one Midway of Misery scare zone. They were out, but they weren't able to slide, which I was sad about, but I totally understand that for safety and everything. So also just kind of going into your visit, if it's raining, just be aware that some of the offerings might be a little bit offered. So, or might be a little bit altered is what I meant to say. So yeah. I was sad to not see them, but totally understand it for sure. And the characters' makeup, yeah, kind of coming off. It's so hard whenever it's raining, but I thought it was really cool that they were still out and still doing things, but it can kind of be a little bit different for sure. Definitely look better at night at Hershey Park from what your video showed. Yes, it was a lot of the rides are, I haven't done a lot of rides at Hershey Park during the evening, so it was cool during their Halloween event to check that out. And the scare zones also are super cool during the evening at Hershey Park. So yeah, the evening is certainly a different look at the park for sure. Let's see. You've always gone to Orlando in March. You go to the Red Sox spring training games. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. March is a good time. Well, it's hard when going in March because you have spring break and everything, but also the weather's kind of nice because it's not as hot. But it can be rainy. So, yeah, so it's a little bit different. But I hope you can head down in October sometime or for the Halloween season for sure. You did get the fast pass for Hershey haunted houses just in case, which I think is a good idea, Kitty Cathy. From what I've seen from last year, like lines for haunted houses were so long, which is why we were kind of happy that it rained this year because there was no line. Like I did not wait once for any haunted houses because the park was so empty. But I think that's a good choice, especially if it's a nice day whenever you go. It'll be nice to just zoom in and out of those houses for sure. So I'm so excited for you to visit. That'll be so fun. And key to enjoying Halloween anywhere is remembering that they are just people in costumes having fun. For sure, Kitty Cathy. That's what I tried to like go into the haunted houses or the scare zones thinking. So that is a good mindset to have for sure. But sometimes my fears do still overcome me. So, but I do like that. And let's see, always good to remind people at Halloween events to check their fight or flight at the door. Do not touch or hurt us characters. They're just doing what they're supposed to do and scaring you. And I am very happy that the ones that I've gone to, the characters cannot touch you because I don't know what I would do if I went to one where they can. But all good things to think about for sure, Kitty Cathy, especially if you're a little bit nervous going into the scary things for sure. So I like that. All right, so let's see. All right, another tip that I had, so we talked weather, we talked researching, going into your visit. Another thing that I recommend if you're going to some of the events that happen at a certain time, like Halloween Horror Nights or Mickey's Not So Scary, I always recommend to get to the park early before the party officially starts or kicks off. This is going to be able to allow you to kind of get into the park, get situated, but also get to experience some of the offerings before the party starts to get really busy, especially if there are haunted houses or rides or special things that you want to do at these parties. I know for us in particular with Halloween Horror Nights, we were there early. We got to enjoy their Stay and Scream area, but also just in general, it was so good to get to the park early because lines for haunted houses weren't as long. Wait times for rides were definitely down, and you can really maximize your time in the early hours of these parties so that way you can still make the most of your time and do other things during the event. So, always recommend to get to the park early. For Mickey's Not So Scary, I know they let you in the park a couple of hours before the party officially starts. So this is nice to get there, get checked in, maybe get a bite to eat before the party kicks off. So no matter what park you're going to, what party you're going to, always get to the park early. And also just like doing this to, make the most of all my time, but to be there for the whole duration of the party that is offered. Because there's a ton of things that you can do during these parties a lot of times. And sometimes there's not enough time to do everything. So it's nice just getting there to maximize your time. That's always just something that I always recommend. I love planning my time and also just trying to see how much I can get done during a park day or during these Halloween parties. So certainly get to the park early. Usually I try to budget around an hour to a half hour before the party officially starts. This will give you time, like I said, to check into the park, whether you have to scan your ticket or your magic band or whatever it is. And also get parked. I think one thing that people don't budget enough time for is parking. If you've been to Disney World, the parking lots are huge. Even Hershey Park has really big parking lots. You might have to take a tram or walk a little bit to get to the front of the front gate of the park. So certainly budget time for parking as well. And yes, can't be mad if someone's just doing their job for sure. You've watched enough horror movies to know that anyone can be non-employee and do bad things, as well as having seen it when you worked at the park. I'm sure you've probably seen some things as well, Doofs. And yeah, the movies definitely don't help for sure. Let's see. I know that, so do they ever warn parents with children? I know, like, for at least Halloween Horror Nights, a lot of the advertisements or like the signage, I think says like not recommended for children, maybe under the age of 13. I can't honestly remember what the age is, but they do, at least for some of the places that I'm gone to, they've had warnings for, like maybe not suitable for such and such age. Another thing I'll recommend too is look up like walkthroughs or videos of what the houses are actually like. I like doing this so that way I can know going into the haunted house, like where scare actors are or what the house is actually going to be like. But if you are thinking of taking your kids and trying to see if it's too intense or if it's something that they'll like, you can always look up walkthroughs and kind of see based on the comments or based on what the house is like, if it's something that your kids should do. But I mean, when we went to Halloween Horror Nights, even with Hershey Park Dark Nights, like there were young kids there. So I don't think that they ever restrict certain ages from going to haunted houses or these Halloween events. But so it might just be up to your discretion. But I've certainly seen some young kids at these events, especially like the Friday that we went to Halloween Horror Nights. There were just a ton of teens there. So I don't know that there's any restrictions, but they do kind of have notices for what ages it may or may not be recommended for. If anybody else has any other thoughts, feel free to put it in the chat too. Yes, Kitty Cathy was saying this seemed to be a lot, and you mean a lot of teenagers at Halloween Horror Nights, and I think it's getting a little bit out of hand. Not sure about other parks, but on the company teams are teams are source of the problem. I know, like I said, whenever we were at the Friday we went to Halloween Horror Nights, we were just it was like majority of the crowd were teens. We were so shocked to see so many teens there. Like it was crazy. There were a lot. I think it was hard to tell at Hershey Park because, like I said, it was very rainy. The park was very empty, but so I don't know what it's usually like there. I know usually there's a lot of teens just at the park in general, but yeah, that was something we were not expecting. Uh, let's see. You've never understood when you see people trickling in an hour or two after the start of the party. Talk about a waste of money. I that is definitely my mindset going into it. Like if I'm paying money for the time that I can be there, I'm going to be there and enjoying it. But when I was right outside of the gates of Magic Kingdom for I think maybe like 2 hours after Mickey's Not So Scary had kicked off, and there were still people like getting in and getting into the party. And I don't know if some people don't know how long it takes to kind of get parked or take Disney transportation, or maybe they were running late at a dinner reservation or something like that. So that's why I always try to hit home that planning side of things for sure. So yeah, if you know what time it starts, make sure that you can kind of get in and get to the park early for sure. Um, Sia, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Um, let's see. And think the theaters in Diagon Alley attractive a lot of young ones, but they still have to walk through very scary areas for their age to get to Diagon Alley. Don't understand that. Oh, the Death Eaters. Gotcha. Yes. They I know like you said before too, Kitty Cathy, like when it comes to going through scare zones, going on the sidewalks are nice because usually scare actors don't bother you as much on there. But like you were saying, like even at Hershey Park, like I don't think there is any area that you can't like walk through without going through a scare zone. Same with Halloween Horror Nights. Like no matter where you walk in the park, there's always kind of a scare zone through where you have to go in order to get to a certain place. So it's kind of hard to avoid them for sure in the park. So you could always, if you're concerned about taking your kids, trying scary stuff, you could always look up the event map ahead of time to know where these scare zones are. So that way you know either where you need to run through very quickly or areas that you need to avoid too. Yes, we're talking about kids now. All right. Let me see. What else do we have? Okay, so I will go ahead and we'll talk about a third tip that I have that really helped me during haunted houses. And I know people have said in previous streams, whenever I'd said about wearing earplugs, people either said, you know, it was, I don't know, either weak or something that you shouldn't do. I don't know. Anyway, if you are scared about going through haunted houses, one thing that really helps me this year is wearing earplugs. So like I said, have not really done the haunted houses. We're breaking into this scary stuff and everything, but earplugs really help me for a couple of reasons. One, I'm a very jumpy person. So anytime there's a loud noise or someone tries to scare me, I'm automatically spooked. But the earplugs help significantly with getting scared or the jump scares and stuff. It also kind of just helped me calm down walking through the house. I felt like a little bit more at peace, if that's even possible. Another thing is these haunted houses, especially at Halloween Horror Nights this year, were very, very loud. So I'm just in this phase of life, I'm trying to protect my hearing. And so if I would walk through the house. I think the first house, first Stranger Things house that we did, I didn't wear any earplugs and it was just very loud. So if it's something that you're all right with, feel free, of course, to just go through. But if you're anything like me and still nervous about going through these haunted houses, I'm happy to share any tips, and wearing earplugs was one of them. Also, if you're going through scare zones, especially with these chainsaw people, the earplugs kind of helps with that as well. So I will say I wore them. I didn't put that in my Halloween. I don't think I put that in my Halloween Horror Nights vlog. I don't even know if I put it in my Hershey Park vlog that I wore them, but I'm fine saying that I did because it definitely helped me. So I I've seen a couple of different earplugs brands. I just had ones, they're kind of reusable ones that you can actually wash and reuse. I know there's like those foam ones too. But there's this brand, I can't remember, it's called maybe like Loop earplugs or something like that. They look kind of neat that you can get on Amazon. So, yeah, all that to say, if you are coming up with Halloween theme park essentials, maybe add earplugs to your list because they definitely help me. Uh, and oh my gosh. And like Flynn's, first off, hello. And second of all, your house turns into a scare zone anytime your mother-in-law drops by. I'm dying. That's hilarious. Kitty Kathy, earplugs are huge. Sometimes it's so dang loud in there in general, for sure. Like I know some of the houses in Halloween Horror Nights. The thing is too, even with the earplugs in, like I could hear everything fine. Like I didn't even there wasn't a time that I couldn't hear anything that I didn't know what was going on. So things are still loud enough that I knew what was going on with the earplugs in. So you love to be deaf when scare actors are trying to sneak up and scare the bejesus out of you. I I totally get that too in like Flynn's, but the thing is I am like so alert going through these scare zones. My head is on a swivel. I am just looking all around trying to even see who is around with me. So I feel like I'm still very aware. But even you could wear one earplug and then have one ear open. I don't know. All personal preference. Just sharing tips with you out there, but yeah, that's what helped me, but I totally understand that too. The tense noises that make you jittery, and since they aren't actually doing anything to you, that would definitely be a good tip. So I know, yeah, the Halloween Horror Nights houses were nice. The earplugs were fine. They also, all the houses were pretty well lit that you knew where you were going. The only thing with the Hershey Park houses, some of the houses have this like intense fog, and also they were a little bit dark. So there were times that I don't think I bumped into any scare actors, but definitely got close to them. And with the earplugs in, I mean, the thing is like whenever somebody jumps out at you, they go like they make a noise. You can hear them and stuff. So I always knew where somebody was at, but I don't know. Earplugs were helpful for sure. Oh my gosh, Kitty Kathy. So this Nightmare Fuel show, yes, was too loud and you wore earplugs there. Made a big difference. Protect your hearing. My sisters and I wore earplugs that entire performance. We still heard everything, but I could not imagine watching that show without earplugs. Like it was so loud. Yeah, so I'm glad that you wore them too and brought that up because I completely forgot about it. All right. Let's see. Thank you, Doofs. We'll see you later. All right, we'll keep getting through the let's see, we'll keep getting through our tips here. Another thing that I wanted to say as far as kind of planning ahead of time, we talked about bringing rain gear, but another thing that really stood out to me is I always recommend wearing comfortable park shoes whenever you are at theme parks. But one thing I noticed with like haunted houses and walking through scare zones or during these Halloween events are you're on your feet a lot more than usual. Whenever you're at a theme park, you might be going to do some shows or doing rides, so you still get kind of a break, or you can give your feet a break. But whenever you're walking through these haunted houses, you are walking through the haunted houses. You're waiting in line on your feet. You're walking on your feet through the haunted houses. So we were so happy to have the shoes that we had to carry us through the events that we went through, especially with all of the haunted houses. So now more than ever, we recommend having comfortable park shoes so that way you can get through your evening and still maximize your time and do everything that you want to do during your park day at these Halloween events. So we always wear the Croc wedges. My sisters, I think, wore some On Cloud tennis shoes. They really enjoyed. So whatever your favorite park shoes are or shoes that you know are comfortable, highly recommend wearing those, especially during these Halloween events, to protect your feet. Because we were on them so much and we were like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. You aren't sitting as much as you're used to during a normal park day because you're doing a lot more walking. Another thing I will say that is nice during some Halloween events are you sometimes have specific Halloween park treats, but only during the Halloween events. So Halloween Horror Nights, Disney or Mickey's Not So Scary, even Hershey Park Dark Nights, they had specific treats during their Halloween events. So if there are some Halloween treats that you want to try that might not be offered during a normal park day, look up the park's foodie guide or food guide beforehand so that way you know what they are offering so you can try it during your visit there. During Halloween Horror Nights, we tried some drinks, which were really fun. I know in previous trips, we've tried some fun treats that they have at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. So certainly recommend doing that as far as treats go. 'Cause some of the things are really fun to try for sure. Um, let's see. Oh yeah, take sitting breaks when you can. Rest those footsies for sure, Kitty Cathy. We were like, especially we didn't think about it because whenever you're going through the houses and waiting in line, you're doing a lot of standing. And I think the only time we honestly sat during Halloween Horror Nights was for the Nightmare Fuel show, and went to the um we went and rode Gringotts once. That was really like the only times we sat. Yes, gotta have good shoes. Nikes are your shoes of choice. Okay, Doofs. Or sorry, okay, Guy. You like the Nikes? I know I have some Nike tennis shoes too that I like to wear to the parks for sure. Um, Oh, yes, and like Flynn's, when walking around a haunted house, stay in the middle. You have a buffer sacrifices in the front and back of the line. I know whenever my sisters and I were going through the houses, we're like, okay, who's going first, who's going last, and who's in the middle. So I usually was one of the last ones, but this is a good tip. I like this in like Flynn's. Very, very good tip for sure. Um, Oh, first year Nicole wore heels dressed as Alice at Mickey's Not So Scary. Oh my gosh. But I'm sure the pictures were so cute and the outfit was probably amazing. So I love that for her. Oh, you walk right in the front, Kitty Cathy. Like I said, you were so brave. I love that. Um, let's see. Yes, this is a good point too. Wear comfortable shoes so you can run away faster. All you have to do is yes, beat me. So I am one of the last ones. I love that. That is so funny. um, and certainly, if you were to be at the park for the whole day, need good shoes and take breaks very frequently. Your ankle won't allow you to walk the whole day for sure. Yeah, I always recommend sitting breaks, AC breaks, and time to just sit down and rest during your park day. So I agree with that. An obsessed Rangers fan for sure. We got two more tips. So if there's any other Halloween theme park things you want to share in the chat or parks that you're going to this Halloween season, feel free to put that in the chat. But the other thing I will say, whenever you are at these Halloween events, one thing that's also very nice is usually rides don't have as long of wait times as they usually do during normal park days. So one thing that I like to do during the like middle part of the Halloween party, whenever it's just very busy, everyone's there, there's a lot of stuff going on, lines might be long for haunted houses or whatever else you might do at the parties. I always like to kind of go and do rides during that time because usually they aren't as long of lines, but it also gives you stuff to do still during the party to still maximize your time. So I know we did this for Halloween Horror Nights. During the middle of the party, lines for haunted houses are just so long. So we did some rides, which had some walk-on wait times. So we could even take a break to sit, but also still kind of maximize our time and do rides that way. So utilize rides during this time. It works for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party as well. So just another thing that you can do and utilize during the parties. Let's see. We did not try I think it was the Blutter Burger we were going to. We didn't end up trying like any food because lines were really long for food the 2 nights we went. But delicious, but too small for the price. So I get that. It looked really, really good though. It looked intriguing. So I'm glad you guys could try it. Um, uh, Yes, definitely. Take your time and enjoy the work that went into the event. That's one thing that I love about the Halloween parties is there's so many details, decorations, especially with the haunted houses. Like Halloween Horror Nights does so much to put work into these houses to make them so detailed and fun. The scare actors are so great. Their makeup is always so good. So if there's time that you can kind of sit back and relax or enjoy and take it in, like Kitty Cathy was saying, definitely do that. And as I mentioned earlier, once the parties start, they go by so quickly. So if you're able to just kind of sit down and take it in, certainly agree with that, Kitty Cathy. I love it. And yes, you can sit in all that there is to enjoy for sure. All right, my favorite house and favorite food at Halloween Horror Nights. I liked the Surfer Boy Tropical Dream Punch. I think I put a short up today of it. That drink was very good. I also like pineapple, so the pineapple was in it. That was very yummy. But my favorite house had to be the Monsters house. I think I liked it so much because my previous Halloween Horror Nights, I really liked the Icons house that they have. So anytime they have a Monsters or an Icons house, I just really like that at Halloween Horror Nights. So that was probably my favorite. I also really liked Stranger Things. That's probably my second place house. And my third place house is probably surprisingly the Blood Moon Dark Offerings house. That one was so detailed, very different and interesting. We did that house, I think, 3 times on the second night that we were there. So we got in and out of that one pretty quickly a couple of times. But those ones were my favorite. That was my favorite of Halloween Horror Nights for sure. Yeah, didn't get to try much food. Yeah, lines were so long and we'd rather wait in line for the houses rather than food. So that's why we didn't try as much food for sure. Go to Six Flags America. The whole park is a scare zone. You'll hear realistic. Okay, yes. I think I know what you are talking about in Lake Flynn's. I've heard mixed reviews about some Six Flags parks for sure, so we'll see if we get to a Six Flags park. All right, the last thing I want to chat about is to download the theme parks app. If you're going to a park, I always like to look on the App Store and see if there is an app for the park. I know Disney World, Universal, Hershey Park, Kennywood, a lot of these parks have their own app. So I highly recommend downloading that ahead of time so that way you can check wait times for rides. It's also nice to see wait times for the haunted houses. This was huge during our time at Halloween Horror Nights to know how long lines were for houses. I think Hershey Park even has the app that has wait times for their houses too. So this is just good for planning and maximizing your time and kind of looking that way. Also, if you need to know where things are at, there's usually maps that will guide you around on the app so that way you can know where to go so you don't get lost during these parties for sure. And pick up a park map if they have a park map for the Halloween event. Those are always nice to have to look at during your visit, but also I love them as little souvenirs. I have so many theme park maps. They're kind of one thing that I like to collect. So anytime I go to a park, I always like to see if they have an app and if they have a map to use during my visit there. All right, let's see. Loved being able to walk right on the Mummy. Yes, after you did your RIP tour, that was awesome. I know my sisters did that. I walked through the Vamp 69 scare zone a little bit, but they went and they walked right on the Mummy. It was perfect. Same with us in Gringotts. We walked right on the Gringotts ride. Missed out on the park maps. Where can you find the one that is at Hershey? You can find it right whenever you walk into the park, Kitty Cathy. It is just right whenever you scan in. It's going to be right there. So they usually have somebody that is just handing it right out. I think you can also get it at some of the food booths too. So yeah, make sure you pick one up because I love the park maps. I love collecting them. All right, so those are my tips as far as Halloween events at theme parks. I think my biggest thing here, as I keep talking about, is just research ahead of time before you go. I'm always about maximizing my time, coming up with essentials that I like to use and bring with me and pack for the theme parks and everything. So these events are so fun. People put so much time and effort into their theme park or their Halloween events. So I always like to maximize my time and see how much I can experience during my evenings at some of these events. So very excited to bring you guys along to another Halloween event next weekend, but let me know in the comments below what your favorite thing to do during Halloween in theme parks is. I enjoyed chatting tonight, and I hope you guys found this helpful and fun if you are planning on or have been to theme parks during this Halloween season. So we've got a couple of other videos coming out from our previous trips. I'm trying to get all of those out. Today was mainly Halloween Horror Nights focus. So if you want to go on our shorts tab, you can see a lot of the fun things we were able to get done during Halloween Horror Nights this past time that we were there. And yesterday, I focused on Hershey Park Dark Nights content. So if you want to check out the shorts there too, you can also see some things that Hershey Park has to offer during this Halloween season. But thank you guys so much for watching tonight. I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's always fun chatting for sure. And I will see you guys on the next video, vlog, or short. See you guys. Have a good evening.